You can eat shit and fucking die.
Hello everybody, Fuzzy Snugs here from Plox Rage Gaming, and I'm giving you not really a quick video, but more of a strategy video of a variation of the 1-1-1 build going for Cloaked Banshees against Terran. As you can see here, the players are T-Good and Fuzzy Snugs, which is me, and this is a game of me. Yeah, that's really redundant, but that was a game of me. It is a game of me doing the 1-1-1 build going for Cloaked Banshees against Terran, and this is very effective against Terran, and it's very effective actually against most races, but it's the most like what's the word for it? It's the most flexible build you can do, so it gives you more options and stuff. And basically this build is you're going to be going for a high tech, going into straight Banshees, and you still have all the tech you still have the opportunities to go for other tech switches, like say you can go for Thors afterwards because you have that factory down, because you have one of each production building, which is, 1-1-1, barracks, factory, and starport. So at around 10 supply you want to go out here and drop your supply depot, and at 12 you want to drop your barracks, and then send that SCV out that you, well, personally, if it's a 4-player map or just a 2v or 1v1 map that you want to just get a good scout out, you want to send out the SCV that you did a supply depot that built, and you want to run that over to the enemy's base and scout whatever they're doing. And at 13 you want to drop that refinery. And keep in mind you want to be constantly making SCVs, but I kind of screwed up here and I didn't really do it. Oh, there you go. But basically after each building is done, like after this building you want to drop your factory, and then as soon as your orbital command is coming in you want to drop down that second refinery, because you're gonna need a lot of gas for this build. And keep in mind when you're making Cloaked Banshees, and when you see this happening in most games, well, most people that go for this build actually, they tend to make a lot of Marines to make up for the lack of units, because you're going for that fast tech to Banshees. And what's good about this build is that with going for Cloaked Banshees for harassment, you can basically, which is pretty much what most people do, is they go straight for followed by Cloaked Banshees, they follow it up a Marine tank with a medevac or something like that. So a very balanced unit composition that can pretty much take down almost anything your opponent can throw at you. As you can see, we dropped on the factory as soon as we had enough Vespian for it, and basically we're going to just be constantly making Marines while we're building this, so we can have good early game defense. You want to deny scouting as much as possible, and usually if you're playing Terran, you'd want to wall off your base effectively. If you're playing any race besides Zerg or Protoss, well, there's only 3, so Terran and Protoss, you generally want to wall off your base, but you see the thing is, going against Terran or Protoss you don't really need to, because it's not really, there's nothing really to protect against besides cannon rushes or bunker rushes, but you can easily find that out by scouting. And after the factory was done, we're going to be dropping the starport, followed by a tech lab on the factory, and we're going to do a quick switch here between the two buildings so we can easily get out those Banshees and Cloak. Keep in mind, constantly making SCVs, I can't stress that enough. People in bronze, they stop making SCVs at some point, but you should keep making it. And yeah, I don't really much to say. It's just macroing up right now. You just have to keep macroing up, making Marines, keeping your minerals low as possible. You want to save up just enough for that Cloaked Banshee. As you can see, I'm gonna get out my Banshee here. Well, quick switching first, and I'm gonna get out my Banshee and get the cloak for it as soon as I have enough. And for the factory, I'm gonna be dropping down a tech lab pretty soon, so I can get my siege tech running. And as you can see, I have 6 Marines here ready. And what does my other guy have? As you can see, if we go over here, he was going for a 3-rack fast expand, something like that, or like, I don't know. I know that towards the end of the game he had a medevac, so he's probably going MMM. But as you can see here, coming out with that Banshee, almost there. It's close to the 7-minute mark, and for me, just personal preference, I dropped an engineering bay because I thought he was gonna go for Cloaked Banshees as well, but maybe I was gonna get upgrades. But Yeah. Usually you don't really need to drop this down if you don't scout out a starport with the tech lab, but you usually want to, just in case you see that Cloaked Banshees coming in from your opponent if you're going against a mirror matchup. And there's that first Banshee coming out. Cloak is almost on the way done, and as you can see, siege tanks coming out for the follow-up. So keep in mind, this is very important, while you're making Banshees to harass your opponent, you want to macro up your follow-up army as soon as possible. Do it while you're macroing up your Banshees, because follow it up right behind those Banshees. You want to move in with those forces, but unfortunately in this game I really didn't have to do that, because he basically, after I had harassed him so much with my 2 Banshees that I'm coming out with, he basically ran in here with his army thinking I had nothing, but I macroed up a lot with my army and I destroyed him once he walked in here. So coming out with this 1 Banshee followed up by the second one being rallied to that other Banshee. You're just going to want to harass your opponent. Usually for Banshee micro you want to go up from the behind, smack the SCVs there, and try to micro away from enemy scans if they're a Terran, and just micro your way around missile turrets if he has any, and just try to wipe out supply depots, SCVs, expansions, and whatnot. And as you can see, moving in here, Banshee harassment going down and Cloak going down, because you want to cloak while you go in. You don't want to have your cloak go down. Run your enemy units go in there, because they might be able to scan you before, like right before you leave. So yeah, so as you can see here, a little poor micro for my opponent though. Just constantly knocking down these SCVs. As you can see, pretty devastating for my opponent. And he just got down his expansion too, so he doesn't have enough money to make more units. But I don't know what he's doing. He has 500 minerals. He's not making anything. So as you can see right here, he's moving out with all he's got, thinking that he can knock on my door and just bust his way down in here. But little does he know, I have 2 siege tanks, a bunch of marines, a bunker, and a medevac. He just has marauders. And as you can see here, Banshee's constantly just harassing whatever they need to, and main forces here just mopping up whatever he has left. And if he didn't, right about now, if he didn't GG here, I would have just took out all the marines from my bunker and unsieged my tanks and go straight up here, knock down his expansion, knock down his front door, and just took down everything. And with those Banshees out there to help me out from the back and taking out SCVs in the mineral lines and supply depots, he would have been in a bad spot. But a little blunder by me keeping slipping up on my macro. I have close to 1,000 minerals, which is kind of bad. But yeah, so this has been the 1-1-1 build. But basically, it's just an overview. It's just constantly making SCVs, constantly macroing up when you get out with those Cloaked Banshees, because you want to follow up with that army as soon as those Cloaked Banshees are done with whatever they're doing, or if they're dead. But aside from that, you know, you just drop production building after production building until you have everything. And if you're going against a Terran opponent, if you want to drop down engineering bay for upgrades or for missile turrets, you can go on ahead. I've dropped one down for sensor towers because I saw the medevac and I thought he was going to do a drop. So anyway, this has been a strategy video by Fuzzy Snugs. Tell me if you want more. I'm not that good of a player. Trust me, I'm not that good of a commentator either. But I'm just doing what I like to do, helping out other bronze players out there that need to get better. So yeah, anyway, it's been a good video, I guess. I'll see you guys later. Bye.